The Drug User Liberation Collective is accusing San Francisco Mayor London Breed of promoting white supremacy. How? By cracking down on drugs. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Well, it's finally happened. San Francisco has gone completely around the bend. Posters promoting illegal drug use have started popping up in downtown San Francisco. And these posters are really something else. Have you seen drug users laying around downtown San Francisco like they own the place? Well, according to these posters, they do. Downtown is for drug users, one poster loudly proclaims. You could kill a person with a balloon full of that sense of entitlement. It goes on to say, yeah, we buy drugs and do drugs here. It's very literally not hurting you, your business, or the economy. But it could seem like it because of all the stigma and misinformation out there, and because London Breed is targeting our communities in order to build political power. Yep, the protesters are targeted against San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and they pull out every trick in the leftist playbook, accusing Breed of creating a discrimination hellscape, of wanting drug users dead, and of, you guessed it, white supremacy. You heard me right, London Breed, the face of white supremacy. So why all this ire toward Breed? Well, Breed campaigned on promises of safe injection sites, and has delivered, despite some setbacks at the state level. Since she's been mayor, San Francisco has become an out-of-control drug haven, after progressive policies, including drug decriminalization, gave rise to open-air drug markets. Things have gotten so bad that San Francisco's drug overdose deaths hit a record high last year. But then something changed. Perhaps embarrassment over the state of the city leading up to the 2023 Apex Summit took its toll. Whatever it was, 2023 saw Breed push for more arrests to tackle the city's drug crisis. According to a statement from Mayor London Breed's office, local and state law enforcement agencies have arrested nearly 700 people for drug sales and nearly 800 people for public drug use since the start of the crackdown in May. And the drug users are none too happy, hence the posters. The posters are pretty over the top, making claims like anti-drug user culture and laws equals white supremacy. How? Well, because recent data shows that black drug users overdose at 5 times the rate of white drug users in San Francisco. Indeed, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, black people make up 31% of the city's fatal overdoses last year, despite accounting for only 5.7% of the local population. And as we all know, these kinds of unequal outcomes can only be due to systemic racism. Apparently, anti-drug user stigma is also anti-queer and trans, since crystal meth users are a very significant and valuable part of the LGBT communities. So is this some kind of joke? Well, according to the San Francisco Standard, the posters were put up by the Drug User Liberation Collective. Yes, there's an organization called the Drug User Liberation Collective. And yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. If you see the words liberation and collective together, it's pretty safe to assume that the group's pretty far left. The group only has 6 members. The creator of the poster campaign, Nova Schultz, apparently spent $500 of personal money on the posters and hopes to rally others to fight against anti-drug stigma. After all, according to Schultz, the violence and illegal behavior associated with drugs is actually a function of drugs being illegal. That's right, legalize drugs and all other drug-related problems go away. Poof! Schultz even goes so far as to use the identity card, saying our lives are inherently criminalized. It's illegal to be us. People who use drugs are not morally corrupt. It's illegal to be a person who uses drugs. I don't even know what to say to that. So cracking down on drugs is racist, LGBTQ phobic, and oppressive against those who make drugs a part of their identity. If you go along with the premise that these things make crackdowns on drugs bad, what's the solution? Well, according to Schultz, the solution should be allowing for supervised drug use facilities and creating a government-regulated, safe supply of drugs. Yes, the solution to drug abuse is to make drug use completely legal with no restrictions and to have drugs dispensed by the government. It's a brave new world. The Drug User Liberation Collective apparently has no affiliation with the San Francisco Drug Users Union, which is also a thing, formed in 2007. And as I said, it's tiny. However, the Drug User Liberation Collective claims to be part of a growing movement that has flourished in Canada and is spreading in the US. I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. The Drug User Liberation Collective is spreading its anti-drug stigma message in San Francisco, and it claims to be part of a larger movement that started in Canada. It doesn't mention the name of that larger movement, but chances are it has ties with, or at least got inspiration from, the Drug User Liberation Front, or DULF, another group that is easily identifiable as a far-left organization from the name alone. Like the Drug User Liberation Collective, DULF demands the government legalize and provide resources, including funding, for cocaine, heroin, and meth compassion clubs in British Columbia. Compassion clubs are places where members can purchase hard drugs like heroin, cocaine, or meth that have been tested for impurities and pre-portioned so that users are much less likely to overdose. They're kind of like a pharmacy that dispenses hard drugs.
The points of drugs you will get from the boxes being distributed from that tent have been tested. This means that you are at no risk of overdosing on fentanyl from the drugs we have given you in those boxes. And we want this model to be legislated so that it can happen all over the place so our friends and family stop dying.
Unlike San Francisco's DULC, this isn't some small fry group. In 2021, then Vancouver City Councillor Jean Swanson filed a motion to get the city to support DULF in its application for permission to purchase heroin, cocaine, and meth. Since 2022, DULF has carried out a Dope on Arrival program that distributes free tested drugs to drug user groups in Vancouver. Not dope as in cool, dope as in come and take drugs. This began around the time British Columbia started experimenting with harm reduction in Vancouver. Harm reduction is another term for programs that want to improve the health and well-being of drug users, such as overdose prevention and providing clean syringes. This was soon followed with a federal-level go-ahead to decriminalize possession of 2.5 grams of certain hard drugs between 2023 and 2026. According to a document from Vancouver Coastal Health, the regional health authority, DULF received $200,000 of public funding in 2021 to 2022 exclusively for drug checking, overdose prevention training, and harm reduction services. On top of that, in an unattributed statement, the authority said it had awarded DULF a $200,000 contract in 2023. However, there was a problem. It seemed the group was operating illegally. Imagine. In 2022, Health Canada rejected a request from the organization for a temporary criminal code exemption to buy and distribute drugs because the plan involved purchase from illegal vendors on the dark web. And yet, DULF went ahead with buying illicit drugs from the dark web to operate a compassion club. Unsurprisingly, this got them into major trouble with Vancouver police in October of last year. Although there's no proof that DULF used Canadian-funded money to buy the drugs, the health authority wasn't having it and canceled its 2023 funding in response. Using the dark web to buy hard drugs with money that could potentially enrich organized crime isn't exactly something I'd call exemplary behavior, or even compassion, but some people still stand in solidarity with DULF. After all, lives are at stake. People need drugs to live. Even British Columbian Premier David Eby expressed sympathy for the organization, stating that they were providing essential life-saving work. Despite the drama the group caused, the Canadian government is still on board with promoting harm reduction services. British Columbian officials, like many progressives, think the best way to deal with drug addiction is to prevent harm, including stigma and shame. Some go so far as to block bans on drugs near playgrounds in fear of causing irreparable harm. Yes, you heard me right. Stopping people from taking things like crack and meth near playgrounds is bad, not good. Don't you dare stop that drug addict from getting near those monkey bars, mister! The idea is that if drug addicts are stigmatized and shamed, they'll still do the drugs, they just won't ever get treatment, or do it unsafely, reusing needles, for example. So, taxpayers should pay for their needles and welcome addicts around playgrounds. Those like the Drug User Liberation Collective in San Francisco even go so far as to frame access to hard drugs as an essential right and tie it to identity. But here's the catch. Those who push for drug decriminalization tend to prioritize what they perceive as the needs of drug addicts over the needs of the people surrounding them. As much as proponents like to highlight how they're saving lives and paving the way to solving drug crises, they have to contend with how there are unintended consequences. For example, money spent on drugs can end up going to the hands of violent organized crime, even if you completely legalize hard drugs. Also, San Francisco legalized a bunch of drugs and overdoses are going up, so it's not reducing harm. Even those who once supported drug decriminalization see how this approach has ruined cities like San Francisco, and Portland, and Seattle, where the ground is littered with used syringes and balloons, filled with enough unbridled entitlement to kill a grown man. The Drug User Liberation Collective borrows a lot from Karl Marx, who I'm pretty sure took something to come up with something as whack as communism. You can learn more about that in the latest episode of my new show, Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And America Uncovered would not exist without your support. All it takes is $1 an episode, and you can set a monthly limit. Click on that orange button to head over to Patreon. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.